Welcome, Screen Fiend fans. Let's get into the top 10 best movies of 2019. Yes, we are going to do this again. Frustrated I was that I have to make this a second time. First time was golden. And for some reason, the video did not come out the way it should have. And I was furious, as that was probably the best top 10 list I have done, and I don't know how long I've been doing this. And I said, that was awesome, that whole video. Even though it's gonna get 100 views, I loved it. So there are a lot of honorable mentions when we talk about best movies of 2019. People are all caught into this decade thing, and that's another problem. People screwing over the whole year over decades. But we'll get to all of that in due time. Let's get into the best movies of 2019 top 10. Right? Now, at number 10, I have Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep, to me, was a classic adaptation of the Stephen King The Shining. It's a sequel continuing off from the story, and Edwin McGregor plays a great role. An outstanding performance by the young actress who was the person who also had a bit of The Shining. And what it did was detail a continuation, but what they did was do an excellent transition into creating its own thing, plus giving you that nostalgia that wasn't exhausting or just doing it for fan service. So definitely at number 10, Dr. Sleep comes right in. Now, at number 9, we have The Marriage Story. The Marriage Story with Scarlett Johansson and Kylo Ren, Adam Driver. This seems like the oddest relationship story in history to put together, but it worked. For some weird reason, it worked. I can't tell you why, but it worked. And my God, at one point, it sounded like I was in the room and I wrote this entire thing. I thought this was my book. I said, man, did I write this? Did I send a copy out? This sounds like my book. So I really had no real inclination as to what was going on. With that all together. But I thought The Marriage Story was well deserved, and a different take on marriages. Everyone seems to harp on the same type of tropes. I like the way it was shot, from New York to LA, and most of them, they kind of brought their own personal things and things that happened in their lives into their characters, as far as their backgrounds for the characters. And I think that was interesting, and to see Scarlett Johansson play a role like this was refreshing. It's a throwback to what she used to do. before she became, Black Widow. Black Widow and Kylo Ren together. Number 8, Dark Waters. Dark Waters with another Marvel character. Mark Ruffalo and the oh my god story of the year. It brought back the story of telling how we all, basically 99% of all living human beings, have this chemical in our system we can't get rid of. It's all in our bloodstream, called PFOA. It's carbon 9, C8. Well, carbonate, C8. And what it is about DuPont actually making the Teflon pan and using a chemical that they knew was poisonous and actually poisoned some of the waters in West Virginia that has basically monumentally endangered all life on Earth as we know it. Yeah, it's really deep. Very well acted out, but also very deep and disturbing. At number 6, we have Knives Out. Or am I at 7? Hold on, let me keep count. Let me see. We had Dr. Sleep. We had The Marriage Story. Right? Then we had Dark Water. So, yeah, this is number 6. I think, right? Well, we're on 7. Because we did Dr. Sleep, then we did The Marriage Story, then we did Dark Waters, and after that, number 7, number 7 is Knives Out. Knives Out is the classic Clue whodunit with Daniel Craig probably getting an Oscar nod for his performance in this star-studded, even Captain America. Man, gosh, everybody's got a superhero from an Avenger or some type of Star Wars Disney characters in these movies. Jeez. Knives Out is a very clever, and it's got another Star Wars guy in there, Rian Johnson, from, he goes to The Last Jedi to Knives Out, and ta-da, he's got a hit. So I think that when you look at all of these things in its totality, you're looking at a situation where you're looking for sound, picture, editing. Most general people are not looking for that. Me, I look for this. So there might be some people that see things differently in film, and this is just based off my opinions, because of all the movies I've seen. Okay? So that's the way we move forward. And number 6, we got Parasite. A lot of people have Parasite a lot higher on their list. But Parasite to me is a very good struggle, and it's a more visual stunning movie than anything. But you get to see the struggle of power, of social status between two different families in Korea. And the way you see it played out is very immaculately done. The editing and the visuals are stunning. And it blows your mind if you're somebody that likes film and story and everything else. It just have a bit of a disconnect at some points. Like some people can't stand it, and some people could actually get it. I got it. I've seen all the the tropes before, so it doesn't really confuse me. Now, at number 5, we have The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse. William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. A lot of people probably have this movie a lot higher on their list. It's filmed in black and white. It's grainy. It's giving you the despair, and you're seeing the mental struggles of two different peoples and how they deal with being in an adverse situation at this lighthouse. And it's basically these two characters in the movie, and you get to see William Dafoe's, like, you know, talking through his insanity, while Robert Pattinson is just wishing this guy shut up. It reminds me of that Friday the 13th Part 5 movie where, I don't know if you remember Friday the 13th Part 5. A lot of you are too young. But the part when the guy's out there chopping wood with an axe, and he's a like mental patient. I don't know why would they allow a mental patient to be chopping wood, but okay. So he obviously has some temperamental issues, and then the one kid who's trying to go out there and mess with him, and he ends up popping him with the axe, driving him to the ledge. I want you to just leave me alone. And then next thing you know, he gets hit with the axe. That's sort of like The Lighthouse. It kept boiling up, boiling up, boiling up till he couldn't take it no more. Then pop, pop, go to Weasel. Robert Pattinson gives off his best performance ever. And I mean ever. The editing is top notch. It's really very well done with the editing in this film. It's probably the best edited film and probably will win for best editing when it's nominated for Oscars. I guarantee you this movie will probably get it. The visuals are stunning. A lot of people don't like the ending, including myself. So that's why I have it at number 5. At number 4, I have The Peanut Butter Falcon. The Peanut Butter Falcon, man, is a great film. Shia LaBeouf in this film steals the show with this kid who wants to become this wrestler, and and he's like had a little handicap, or he's a little slow, but he has dreams, and it teaches you compassion for one another and love for one another. It's a great movie, great film, and I implore everybody to go watch it. It's a very feel-good movie, and it's very rare if these feel-good movies make it this far up on the list. But it's better than what you believe. The Peanut Butter Falcon, I've watched it 3 times. That's how good it was. I'm like, man, this is really good. I love the shots they took, and Shia LaBeouf. I mean, what could I tell you about his acting? His acting has never been his problem. This guy is unique. His approach, the way he took to the script and how he acted in the role, and it's amazing. It's funny. It's fresh. You're definitely gonna love this movie, without a doubt. I don't think anyone would ever have a problem with it whatsoever. Which brings us to number 3. Joker. Joker to me is number 3 because it is incredible. I've never seen a movie take the audience through so many turns as the character was going through turns. I've never seen that done in this way, and Todd Phillips did it, which was really shocking. The editing, the way the story, you have to use your mind to actually be engaged in the film. The way the movie did that was incredible to me. It didn't take the cheap route of saying we gotta have a scene in here or the audience is gonna be bored. They didn't take we want to gratify you with violence. We want you to take a trip through a person whose world is falling apart mentally, and you're gonna see it and take the ride with him, and we're not gonna shortcut you or cheap change you through it. And what you got was an excellent performance, and Joaquin Phoenix will probably get his Oscar that he's been, they should have gave him years ago for The Master. Um, I think he'll get it for Joker. Number two, Ford versus Ferrari. Ford versus Ferrari is by far the second best movie I've seen this year. Very close to being my number one. Great performance. The story of Cal Shelby and Ken Miles. Ken Miles is probably one of the greatest drivers, right along with Carroll Shelby. They understood driving. They understood things with just, they didn't even have to speak to one another. They knew how the other guy felt. And it showed about the politics of the business and what was happening during Ford and the Ferrari Motor Company and all the big events. The Shelby 65 car, how Ford got into the racing game, and you start to see the humanizing of it. You see a father and son, their bond, and how he's trying to pass on knowledge. And the story of Ken Miles being this driver is incredibly done by Christian Bale. And I love it when they're sitting on the track, just that scene. I mean, the shots of them driving and how they were able to pull that off. It seemed like Ron Howard did. I'm like, did Ron Howard do this movie? But it's very well done. Very well done. And I'm very proud to see such an accomplishment between the two, because I was like, okay, this is it. This is the way it should go. And I looked at it and said, this is a great movie. Now, Matt Damon did his part, and I thought it was his best role, and he played in years. We're going to talk about some honorable mentions. Films that should have gotten a nod that people thought and might put on their list. Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is a great movie with Adam Sandler. The Safdie brothers have followed up to Good Time. And, Good Time was one of my favorite movies. This was a good movie as well. It just was not, I just don't think it was in the top 10. Long Day's Journey into Night. It's another foreign film, but that's very good. Definitely check it out. Some people have it in their top 10. It's not in mine. It's a very good movie. It's a slow burn type of film. So I'm warning you ahead if you go into it. This is what's going on. A lot of people like The Irishman. I like the movie. I just don't think it was top 10. But a lot of people have that very high on their list. And another movie that's really good called Pain and Glory with Antonio Banderas. That movie is good. Now that almost made the list. I like Pain and Glory. So Pain and Glory, don't forget Us. The Last Black Man in San Francisco is another great film that came out. I did not see Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So I cannot talk about movies I didn't see. And some movies came out so late that I didn't get to see it. The Viola Davis film that people want me to see, that supposedly came out, that's very outstanding. 1912 was the best war movie I've seen this year. It's a very engaging film. That's another one that gets an honorable mention. Definitely check that out. Waves is a great movie. Oh my God. Taylor Russell and Calvin Harris Jr. blows this movie like out the water, man. It's incredible. Um, so romance, drama, it's a suburban family, navigating through aftermath of losing people. It's a great, great movie. Trying to think, what else could I say? Hmm. Uh, I think that's about it, man. Dolomite is My Name was good, but not one of the great best. The Mustang. The Mustang is a great movie. Almost made my list. Early on, it was in there. This guy, Roman Coleman, he's a violent, convicted person who was in a rehabilitation program where they have them raised and care for these wild Mustangs, and he ended up taming one of the wildest Mustangs that they had. And him and the horse, they had a bond, and it ended up changing him personally. He had something to care for, and he had a daughter that was pregnant or whatever, and Bruce Dern was in there. This movie is incredible. It's incredible. I mean, the Mustang almost made my list. You can have John Wick 3 on there. It's a lot of different movies that happen. But let's get to the number one movie of 2019. The number one movie of 2019 is Abominable. No, I'm just messing with you. Farewell. Farewell is the best movie of 2019 with Aquafina, and I unfortunately had to go through a very similar situation, but that's not why I chose this movie at number one. It is very well shot, probably the best filmed movie of the year. This is a story based on tradition. Well, here they do it as well, but it's a Chinese tradition where it's known not to tell. Her grandmother gets diagnosed with a terminal, you know, prognosis where she probably has a few months or a few weeks to live. And during this prognosis, the granddaughter, who's played by Aquafina, is having a hard time thinking that, they should tell their grandmother. And, she's getting ready for the wedding and they don't want her to feel a certain way. So they want her to be in high spirits, so they're not telling her and the family, the doctors, everyone. They even went to stop her getting her medical records, and it's a whole lot of things going on, and she's thinking she should tell her grandmother, and it's a big conflict of, is it okay to break tradition and let them know, or do they have a right to know that they're going to die, and how do you should navigate this, pattern, so it was a very interesting movie, and it wasn't all gloom. This movie was funny. It has some funny parts in it. It teaches you a lot about appreciation of things, appreciating family, appreciating life. So you just want to appreciate what all you can, but that's my number one. A lot of people will probably have this in their top 10, I think. But I like to stay away from people's lists until I do mine, because I don't want anybody compromising what it is that I do in my process. I just want to make my list and then go from it. You know, naturally there are going to be some movies you probably has forgotten. But me, I make a list early on when I'm doing it, and then I make another list like when I'm done. Like halfway 6 months, like in June, I'll write the movies down that I think are exceptional, and they'll stay there. Like I'll write down the exceptional movies I've seen so far. So halfway through the year, I already have this list. So about the time December comes, I have another movie from 6 months that I've been writing down that make sure you this is gonna be in the category. You know, so then out of that you gotta reduce it down to 10. So that's how we came to where we are. Don't forget to support the page. You can hit my Cash App up as Carceno, Karceno, or you can use the super chat button there. Ding! And for those who, don't get to watch the premiere of it, then, you know what to do. I'm out.